Hello, everybody. It is Sunday, the 5th of April, and it is the day of the resurrection, where we should come out of our tomb, not a new being, not a changed being, but we should come out of that truth, standing in our own light, standing in our own truth, being human. The Bible is a story, and it is a story of a humanity that is enslaved by alien beings or by beings that have thoughts, desires that are alien to this world, that are alien to the thoughts and the desire of a human being. The desire to have dominion over the whole world, the desire to enslave. Humanity was a part of this world. Humanity was a part of the web of life. And the web of life does not have rulers. It has nothing that rules over the entire world. That is the natural truth of this world. There are no rulers that have complete control over everything. The Bible is also, from the Old Testament, the story of human beings that cooperated with those alien beings, that became their servants. Human beings that became servants to that alien thought, because they were promised that there was something in it for them, that they would be rewarded. And obviously, in order to be in service to that alien desire, means you have to suppress your own truth. You have to do away with the truth of a human being. That is the entire story of the Bible, right down to Jesus, who on the way of the cross crucified his true self. And the story says, to the point of that he was resurrected into a different kind of consciousness, which was the consciousness of a mindless slave. That is what was walked out of that tomb. And the mindless slave is not human. What walked out of that tomb was no longer human. And we need to have a resurrection where we restore our truth, where we become fully human again. We had knowledge in this world. We built great things. I was just watching another thing about the Freemasons and about the cathedrals that they built, about the way that sound travels in those cathedrals, the way the space is built for a certain vibration, which is actually healing. Yeah, it will put a person out of anxiety and into a state where healing can occur. They had knowledge of that. They could build those spaces, which were working with the stone, building vibrational spaces. And I think most old buildings, old stone buildings, were that. They were knowledge of space and of vibrations. Humanity had that knowledge. The Masons had that knowledge, and they passed it down until the beast drove them out, destroyed their organizations, and in a space that was meant for healing, they put up the cross. They put up the depiction of their crucified abomination. What was built for good what was built was knowledge, which was built out of the human desire to heal, was turned again into a space of crucifying the ego, crucifying the human truth. That is the Christ. That is the light within you. That is the truth within you. That is a Christ that should rise. The truth of this world, it is within you and is all around you. That truth was enslaved. It was tortured, and it is supposed to be killed. The knowledge of self has to be killed so we can become mindless slaves. I was thinking again about Greg Braden, what I talked about yesterday, when he said we should build a humanity that can love without fear, and where cooperation means we give. Yeah, and that will lead to this beautiful world of cooperation. And I was actually wondering if that was a sick joke, because I think a lot of things that they say are actually sick jokes. Somewhere they're laughing their sick asses off when they say those things. Because if we love without fear, we love without discernment. Fear is the knowledge of danger, and if we love without fear, we love without any discernment of that we are in danger. And as I said, giving true cooperation according to this world is giving and receiving. So now we're just going into the world where we again give to the point of self-destruction. So what is this beautiful future of cooperation then? A beautiful future for the gods and the mighty, where we willfully cooperate with our own destruction, with our own enslavement. That's what we will be cooperating with. Their will to destroy us, to enslave us. That's a beautiful future that will come from loving without fear and giving. So this great reset, are we nearly there? Yeah? I mean, we had 2,000 years of, as I said, that abomination on the cross hanging everywhere, even in spaces that were meant for good. We had the New Agers for a good while now, preaching to everybody to suppress the ego. The ego is not real, this world is not real, nothing is real. It doesn't matter. You are nothing, so don't worry about it. Unconditional love, let me talk about this one more time, because people say, it is a case of you have to love the sinner but not the sin. That is not unconditional. In fact, if you judge another person, and if you judge them correctly, not black and white, but you see what is good and you see what is bad, you do not fully love that person, because your judgment of bad will prevent your love from reaching those parts of that person. So loving with judgment means loving in parts, not the fullness of your love, not unconditional, not fully opening yourself up in love. The knowledge of wrong will prevent you loving that person fully. And that is how it should be. That is the truth. You should not love what is bad. You should not give the energy of your love to something you know is bad. But of course, if you are getting rid of your fear, or any low vibrational emotion that will tell you the truth, that there's something wrong, if you get rid of all of that, yeah, then you can love unconditionally, but you're no longer of sound mind. So is that the future that they're talking about? Full cooperation. Humanity will at last be that deluded that it will fully cooperate with its own enslavement. Forget what it is. Forget that we are actually intelligent beings, both rational and that we have emotional intelligence, which is of course what we have destroyed, to get to a higher vibration, because that is enlightenment. Again, I think that's another sick joke. It is a sick joke. That's not enlightenment. That's delusion. So if we have a resurrection of our own truth, then we must bring Satan back into our heaven. We must bring the low vibrations back into ourselves and listen to them. And then this world will become satanic, the true meaning of satanic, which means this world will become the adversary, the opposer, the judge, the accuser of God, of the gods. We will stand in opposition to the will of God again, fully, which is where we should be standing, because they want to rule over and enslave. Yeah, and we should stand in opposition to that. Absolutely. And to do that, we need to be guided by our own low vibrational emotions. They are part of our light. We are beings of light and energy, and they are a part of us that we have crucified and that we are trying to kill. Honest to God, not knowing what it is we're doing. We've been told it is good, and it is not. So I'm hoping for the resurrection of the fullness of the human truth, and that we will finally drive those gods out, that they have no more dominion over this world, and that then this world will return. I would say not fully to peace. There will never be fully peace, but that's not the truth either. There will always be difficulties. There might be disagreements. There will be disagreements. But there will be nothing that we cannot solve if we love our neighbor as ourselves, and if we do not do unto others what we don't want done to ourselves. If we have sound judgment, we will overcome those problems whenever they arise. Anyway, here we go. The day of the resurrection. And I hope the whole true Christ will rise. And I tell you something, Satan is part of that kingdom. Needs to be, for us to be of sound judgment. In fact, right now this world should be full on satanic. It should be in opposition. It should accuse. It should judge the will of those gods. And actions should have consequences. Their actions should have consequences. And that's true human. Anyway, I leave it at that for today. Have a good day. And I talk to you again soon. Bye.